A lot of you guys are waking up. Welcome to the club. I'm not surprised though. It's the product of the plague. And then clear tasting. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Mystic Rain here, and today we are going to be discussing all of the clairs and what they mean. So for the purpose of this video, we're going to be talking about 6 different clairs. Now, depending on who you ask, there could be 7 clairs, there are 5 clairs, there could be 8 clairs. Clairs are just your senses, and depending on who you're listening to and whatever their school of thought is will determine what they are. But I'm going to give you the main ones and the ones that you usually hear about and break down what that actually means and how it could potentially manifest for you. So if you were thinking that maybe you have one of the clairs but you weren't entirely sure, hopefully this video will be able to answer that question. So the first clair that I'm going to go over is probably the clair that everybody hears about, right? Which is clairvoyance. So clairvoyance just means clear seeing, right? The ability to see. Now, some people think that to be a clairvoyant, that means that you see physical apparitions in front of you, like maybe ghosts or whatever, like physical things in front of you. For some people, it manifests that way. Sure. For most people, that's not how it manifests. For the majority of people, the way clairvoyance manifests is things in the mind's eye. You see with your third eye, and it can look a lot of different ways. You can see flashes of pictures. You may see videos or scene play out, but it's in your third eye and it's clear, right? So almost think of it maybe like think about when you're daydreaming, how clear that picture is in your mind's eye. When you're a clairvoyant, the information that comes to you in a similar way, like that, right? It all happens up here in this pituitary gland. It's not necessarily something that requires you to see physical manifestations of something, although for some people it could potentially manifest that way. People that are clairvoyant are usually incredibly creative. They're usually very artistic. They have an ability to see beauty in their mind's eye and then replicate it in person. Anyone that has the ability to manifest their inner reality into outer realities, a lot of times are clairvoyants. So the next clair that we're going to be talking about is clairaudience. So people that have clear hearing, the ability to hear spirit. So one of my major clairs personally is clairaudience. I hear spirit and it's almost like they're having a conversation, kind of like I'm talking to you right now. That's how I hear them. You can also maybe hear music, maybe bells. It's a sensory thing. People that have clairaudience, from what I can tell, their clairvoyance seems to be a lot more common, from what I can tell, than clairaudience. I'm always pleasantly surprised when I come across somebody else that's clairaudient, because a lot of times people don't actually know that they are like that. They usually think that what they hear is kind of a figment of their imagination, which is not necessarily always the case. But clairaudient people have strengths in life that are around auditory sensing. So they're musical people. They are speakers, maybe public speakers, really, really good communicators. Those people have a tendency to be clairaudient, which makes sense because I'm a Gemini. My Mercury is in Cancer, so when I talk, I have a way of touching you in your heart center, which is why some of you feel like I just got you all in the feels, right? It's just kind of part of my makeup, so I'm heavily clairaudient, but that just means that you can hear, and sometimes that's in the form of music. And also when you're hearing, it's not just that you're hearing spirit, meaning like spirit that has passed over, but you could also hear other dimensional beings, like other kind of like galactic beings or higher dimensional, multi-dimensional angelic beings. You probably would be somebody that is a pretty decent channel in terms of relaying information quickly, because instead of having to interpret pictures that you're seeing in your mind's eye, you're hearing it directly from the source. So that is clairaudience. So the next clair is clairsentience, so clear feeling. A lot of you that are watching this video are probably clairsentients. In my opinion, it's probably the most common. Clairvoyance is common when you're dealing with people that are heavily psychic and already kind of well in tune, but people that are waking up and they're coming into this space usually start with clairsentience. It's just a feeling. You just get this really strong gut feeling. You are very empathic. A lot of people these days that are waking up are incredibly empathic. You can walk into the room and it's like you feel everything. These people have a hard time being around hospitals, being in public places, being on buses, being on trains, because you feel everything and you feel it so intensely. You can feel moods, you can feel feelings. For some of you, you will even have the ability to actually manifest physical pain symptoms in your body because you're picking up on a pain body in somebody else, right? So that is something that a lot of you guys watching this video will probably already have. And what I can say about this, you guys are empaths. So I do want to give you a tip before I move on, because I know a lot of you struggle with that when you're coming in, and it's probably particularly difficult for you right now since we're like knee deep in the middle of COVID-19, right? Right now it feels like everything in the world and everyone in the world is in pain. And so for a lot of you, not only can you feel it, I would not be surprised if there's people watching this video right now that feel like you have very achy, very sore bodies because you're holding all those pain bodies of other people inside of you. What I can say, a tip that I'm going to try to give you to help you with that going forward, is that when you start to feel something, whether it's an emotion or a physical symptom in your body, ask yourself, is it mine? Is it my energy? If you were great and then all of a sudden you started feeling really bad frustration and nothing happened that would require you to be frustrated, that is a pretty good sign that you're picking up from somebody else. Now, if you live by yourself or you feel like you are relatively secluded at that time and you're picking up on other things, it doesn't mean that you're not picking it up. People have the ability to send out energy very far, a lot farther than what they think they are. If you live in an apartment complex and maybe somebody lives below you or someone lives below you or above you, you sometimes will actually have the ability to feel that as well. So just keep in mind that energy moves and it's very fluid, and if you know it wasn't yours, then just let it go. So when you feel something, go, is this mine? And if you feel intuitively that it's not yours, don't overanalyze the question. But if your first instinct is no, it's not yours, and so you can allow yourself to let it go because you just picked up on somebody else, and that's okay. But a lot of you guys will have this one. So the next clear is clairalience, which is clear smelling. Now this one isn't as common. I don't have this one at all. Well, I do, but it's like 10% and it's rarely ever used. It's definitely, it's just so not my strong point, but it's a thing. Clear spelling, right? It just means that you have the ability to smell. Sometimes spirit will communicate with you in smells, and I'll give you an example because I have a feeling that a lot of you will be able to identify with this, right? So let's say you have a loved one that has passed over. Maybe you have a grandparent that's passed over, and maybe they were the type of person that really loved flowers. Maybe they really loved peonies. Maybe they always had roses in their house, and you're at home, and then all of a sudden you get this waft of the scent of flowers, and you have no flowers in your house, you weren't outside. That's clear smelling. You're probably picking up on spirit trying to say, hey, we're here and we love you. Not as common, but it's a thing. The next one is clear gustance, which is clear tasting. This one also isn't as common. This has actually only manifested for me once before. I only had one experience with this, but it's just the ability to taste. So sometimes when spirit is trying to communicate with you, or they're trying to prove that they're there with you, you may start to taste things. I'll give you an example. When it manifested in me, I was doing a reading for somebody, a grandmother figure came through, and that spirit was trying to tell me about a soup that they used to make for this person when they were young. And so they started putting the taste of the soup on my mouth. So I could taste what it was. I could taste it was heavy on the chicken stock. I could taste that you use way too much salt. I could taste potatoes and corn. I can taste it. The chicken that goes into the soup, I can actually taste it as if I was eating it, right? So that is clear tasting. It's not necessarily a common thing, but if you do a decent amount of ancestral work, or you do a decent amount of mediumship work, working with people that are coming to terms with the loss of a loved one, it may be something that may come out. The next clear, and the last clear that we're going to be talking about for this particular video, is clear cognizance, or clear knowing. Now, a lot of you will have this as well. Intuitives are very clear cognizant. They just know. Clear cognizant means you just know. You'll say something, and then someone will say, well, how do you know that? And you're like, I don't know. I just know. I feel it. I feel it in my gut. I just know. It's when you know so hard that you have absolute faith that what you feel will come to pass, right? That is clear. No, you just know. Some people are like that. You go, how do you know? I just know. Those people are claircognizant. So those are the main clairs. If you guys want more information on that, or maybe you want to figure out how to access certain clairs, let me know, and I can think about doing some more content on that down the road. But I hope that was helpful, and that gives you a little bit of insight into maybe what it is that you were feeling, or what it is that you thought that you had picked up on. And as always, guys, if you like what you see, subscribe to this channel, and I'll see you guys soon.